Hello everyone and welcome back. I am the Knife Doctor and this is the Knife Doctor channel. Today we're going to be talking about another Spyderco fixed blade. Let's go. Alright, so this is the Spyderco Aqua Salt. Aqua Salt Black. Now, brace yourself, ladies and gentlemen. This is not going to be a good review. This is going to be another bad review. I apologize if I stumble over my words during this one. This is just not going to be... It's not an easy review for me to make, and I have been preparing, you know. This knife drives me to drink, and here we go. By the way, if you're wondering what we're drinking tonight, it is this lovely Suntory Japanese whiskey. Oldest whiskey house in Japan, still producing whiskey. I think. I don't know. I'm a knife expert, not a whiskey expert. But I drink it, so. So, yeah. Here's the rub with this knife. First of all, let's get it out of the box. Let's have a look at this. I apologize if you hear some mild wooing in the background. I do believe my neighbors are having a party. So here it is. Comes with this sheath, and as you know from my last video, I'm not exuberantly fond of Spyderco's injection molded plastic sheaths, which is ironic because I'm incredibly fond of their injection molded plastic handles. In fact, let's get my two fixed blades out to compare side by side real quick. Okay, so these handles are very well done for injection molded plastic. They might be some sort of Grevery or something like that. Either way, they're injection molded and they're made of some variant of plastic, so they are still injection molded plastic. And this is, of course, the Perrin Street Bowie. And it's a great knife, as you probably caught from my last video, but the sheath dulls the blade, and until I get a better sheath for this, this is just not going to get carried, which is a shame because I really want to. This one, however, oh boy, this one. I bought this. This is my first Spyderco fixed blade, and the handle is still great. And I've heard a lot of people say that this looks like a steak knife, and you know what? It does, but it looks like a great steak knife. It looks like a fantastic steak knife. It's a beautiful steak knife. I like that the hole is a lot more pronounced on this one than it is on this one. This one's hole is significantly smaller, but who cares? So, what's the problem with this knife? Well, that's the problem with the knife. H1 steel. H1 steel is incredible in its rust-preventing properties. Unfortunately, however, that is the only thing that it does well. And I love Spyderco. I love that they created this steel, and I think it's amazing. However, it is absolutely useless for anything other than not rusting. This will dull after like 3 passes through cardboard. And I'm not just saying that, I've done it. I have sharpened this thing to a hair-popping razor edge, cut a couple of pieces of cardboard with it just to test the sharpness, and then it was dull, like butter knife dull. Well, not quite butter knife dull, but pretty close. So H1 steel just doesn't hold an edge. And I know, so actually, a lot of you probably don't know this, and some of you probably do, but Spyderco claims that this is a work-hardening steel, which means the more you use it, the harder the edge will become and the more it retains an edge, which has a lot to do with its metallurgy because it uses hydrogen instead of, which one does it replace? Chromium. No. Carbon. It uses hydrogen instead of carbon in the molecule structure of the steel. And that just changes the game with a lot of things about it. Number one being it doesn't hold an edge. But when you take carbon out of metal, which if you guys don't know, carbon is the component in steel that rust. Carbon is what oxidizes. That's why iron, which is heavy in carbon, rusts so badly. Rebar, very heavy in carbon, makes great-ish hobby knives if you're a forge eater, but it's heavy in carbon. It rusts really bad. This doesn't rust at all, like at all. I live on the coast in Texas, and I have been swimming in the ocean with this particular knife, which, as you can see, is a satin blade, many times. And as you can also see, let me clean off the dog slobber. There's not a speck of rust on this. So yeah, the dog chewed it up. Titus, my German Shepherd, chewed this knife up, and I am very upset about it. But case in point, main reason I'm really upset is because I can't justify buying another one because it's H1 steel. And if I'm going to buy another Dragonfly, which I do really like the Dragonfly, I will buy another one of these. I'll buy one of these with the original blade with the black handle. But I think the Dragonfly is a very attractive little tiny knife that's perfect for a keychain or even everyday carry in select circumstances. But it's a very cool little knife. I love the blade profile. I wish they could make this bigger. But as far as an H1 variant, I feel no need to replace this. I loved this knife while I had it, and I'm going to keep this piece of it for as long as I can, but I'm not going to replace it unless I could get just the handle. If I could get the handle, everything else is good. So if anyone knows of anyone who has like a broken blade on one of these things, I will take his handle. Or I'm not selfish, I'll even send him this one so he can rebuild his if he would rather do that. But let me know. So yeah, the H1 steel is, as promised, 100% rust proof. Problem is it doesn't hold an edge. So, I mean, I don't even know if this sheath does the same thing that this sheath does because I can't trust the steel on this blade to hold an edge either way. But I would assume it probably does. So even if this did hold an edge, I'd probably have to find a way to replace this, which is going to be a lot more difficult because this is clearly a more unique sheathing option. But yeah, long story short, this is a knife that I bought and carried a few times and never carried again, which is a shame because I think even though it does look like a dinner knife, the handle is incredibly comfortable. I mean, this handle is on point. It is perfect. It allows for various angles of grip. It really, this bidirectional texturing that Spyderco does is fantastic. It really works the way it's advertised to. I'm sorry if I'm talking like a million miles an hour. I wasn't kidding. Like, I had a few to get through this review. I've been dreading this review because I love this knife almost as much as I hate this knife. Because I love Spyderco. Spyderco is my favorite knife company, so I really wanted this knife to be great when I bought it. I did. And it just wasn't. It's kind of the opposite. Well, it's not really the opposite. It's actually just worse than this one because this knife is great. It's just handicapped by this sheath, which is a shame because I think the sheath is really good in almost every other way other than the fact that it doesn't allow you to maintain an edge. But that was an old review. That doesn't matter now. We're talking about this blade. And this blade is it's just it's a victim of its materials. And if Spyderco releases this blade in an LC200N version, I'll probably buy another one. And if that happens, you guys will know because I'll be putting it on this channel. I really hope they do. I honestly really hope they do because I would love for this knife to be great. You know, there's a lot of things about the design of this knife that make a lot of sense and they're really good design choices. But I can't even get into those because the steel choice ruins everything else. Now, do I think that Spyderco should have made this in a different steel, a more common steel, and then tried to market it the same way? No. What I think they should have done is, honestly, probably never brought H1 to market. The sad, cold reality of the fact is they created something really unique and really awesome in the fact that H1 is completely rust-proof, and it is still technically a steel. But it doesn't perform its necessary functions, and that is to be a knife. I would rather have a blade that rusted and held an edge, and I had to clean it every time I got out of the water, than a blade that I can't depend on under the water that's going to be perfectly clean when I come back out. See what I'm saying? This blade will never rust. That's awesome. But if it doesn't actually perform when I need it to perform, it is 100% useless to me. And to anybody. I mean, I guarantee you, you'll be hard-pressed to find any professional divers that actually carry this on a regular basis, unless they have done significantly more cutting on it and the edge hardened. But you know what? I heard that it was a work hardening edge, and I sharpened this blade every day for a year. Sharpened it when it was not dull. Sharpened it every day for a year to try to get that work hardened edge to kick in. And if it did, it wasn't that much of an improvement. So that's the deal. But anyways, guys, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but honestly, if you're looking for a knife to go diving with, just buy like a Cressy or something. Those knives are sharp and they actually hold an edge. I have one. I've used it for years. In fact, if you guys want to see a review on my diving knife, well, snorkeling knife, I'm not a diver yet, but if you want to see a review on that, let me know, because I've dived or snorkeled with it several times, and it's developed a few spots of rust, but nothing unmanageable, and it's maintained an edge, and its sheath is perfectly adequate, and it's a decent knife. It's not a very popular knife. It's honestly kind of cheap, but oh well. Anyways, I'm gonna sign off here. That's all I've got. The last review I did of a Spyderco fixed blade, I liked that knife, and I like this knife, but I'm honestly going to have to say, just save your money and don't buy this. For what it is, for what it's intended to do, and for how it's going to perform at that task, this is not worth spending money on, and that really hurts my feelings to say about a Spyderco, hence the drinking, because I love Spyderco. I really do. But this knife is a great collector's item, let's put it that way. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I'm going to say again, and I forgot to say it earlier, so I'm going to go back in and add a little sliver. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe if you want to. Obviously, you don't have to. But it helps the channel, it helps the content, it inspires me to create more. So if you do actually like it, put those likes and subscribes on my videos so that I come back and bring you guys more videos, because I do have a full-time job. I take time out of my day, time out of my family time to do this. So help me out and I'll keep giving you guys what you want. But honest to God, I'm not even going to do an actual review of this knife because there's nothing to review, because this is not a knife. Sorry, it looks like a knife, it walks like a knife, and it talks like a knife, but it does not stay sharp. It does not knife. This knife does not knife. So, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you come again. Sorry if I hurt some feelings. I know there's going to be people that love this knife that are going to be upset about this, but honestly, sorry. I use my knives. I actually use them, and if the knife doesn't stay sharp long enough to do two things with it, it's not a knife. It is just a cool piece of metal and plastic. All right. Peace out, y'all.